Welcome to podcasts recorded live at the Center for Spiritual Living in Portland, Oregon. We have many programs, classes, and workshops developed just for our online audience. To find out more, go to our website at cslportland.org and look under the Online tab. Our mission is to open hearts, ignite minds, and make a difference. If you'd like to support our center and its video podcasts, you can donate online at cslportland.org/donate. Allow us to become part of your extended spiritual community. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are most welcome at the Center for Spiritual Living.
Good morning. Let's show our love to our friends band. Ken Brewer, Jim Solberg, Don Schultz. To our wonderful technical team, which consists of one person, Mr. Mark Pettijohn, and our fabulous sound person, Rick Smith. Let's give them love, y'all. They are facilitating the wonderful sound for us here in the sanctuary as well as our friends online. So we are grateful, 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 grateful. All right, let's stand together and sing our opening song. It's an easy one this month because we learned a new one. So we'll take it easy a little bit. It was fun. Didn't that song stick in your head? I know that God loves me. I have all that. Okay, that was that song. Let's do this one now. It's on your pink sheets that's in your bulletin. Wonderfully repetitive, so let's open our hearts and sing together. Yes. And move that beautiful vessel that we are in. Hey, come on. Oh, we are in the right place at the right time. That's right. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to. Let's sing that again. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Beautiful community here. Yes, yes. Let's sing again. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul, and oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. My soul, oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is I am getting the message. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Sing it with us, y'all.
My soul is welcome here.
Oh, my soul
is welcome here.
welcome here.
My soul is welcome
Oh,
here.
your soul
My soul is welcome
is
here.
welcome here.
My soul is welcome.
Oh, my soul is welcome here. One more time. My soul is welcome here. truth. Yes. Thank you to Kristen and Marcy for joining me this morning.
Women's retreat. It sounded just like that. Yeah. Okay, well, welcome to the Portland Center for Spiritual Living. We are a science of mind community that teaches spiritual principles to transform your life and make the world a better place. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, including our Facebook Live friends, virtually, you are welcome here. All we ask is that you stay open to the possibility of changing your entire life simply by changing your mind. My name is Nancy Ashley, licensed practitioner here, part of the ecclesiastical team, and I welcome you. So if you're new to the center, hopefully you got a welcome packet at the door when you came in. This includes a lot of information about who we are, what we stand for, and how we might serve you. And there's also a Science of Mind magazine to get you started. However, our bookstore currently has this month's Science of Mind magazine, so please consider getting that. It's a wonderful way to start your day. So, if you're online and you don't get a welcome packet, you can always go to our website, cslportland.org, and there are, you can sign in there by down at the bottom on the right-hand side. There's a place to log in and give your name, your email address, and there are several different subscriptions you can sign up for. The first is our weekly email that comes out usually on Tuesday with everything that's going on, everything you need to know, all of the times, all of the Zoom links, everything. And this is put together by Reverend Larry. And it's so handy. I forward it to people all the time. I don't know how to get in. Well, here's the email. You can do it. Our services, of course, are at 11 o'clock here every Sunday. And our Wednesday night meditation is continuing this week with, this is on Zoom at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And this week, licensed practitioner Kathy Batten is leading the meditation with the title, Open to Love. We also have our online Zoom groups for Social Justice Book Club and our 12-step program for women. But I'm going to say, since I'm up here, we had a fabulous start to our Social Justice Book Club new program yesterday, which includes the book Recovery from the Lie of Whiteness. And if you would like a copy of that, please see me after the service, because we'll buy more copies if there's anyone that still wants one that doesn't have it yet. But we'll be using the book for 3 more months after yesterday. So it's wonderful. We had a wonderful discussion, and we'd love to have you join us. So Reverend Larry is going to talk about divine dining and our educational programs.
I know. So sadly, this will be the last time this year you see me dressed so magnificently. So I know, nothing like a man in an apron, though, right? I always think that's a good thing. Oh, all right, yeah, all right. Well, the reason I want to really focus on divine dining is they're here. We have 2 more parties coming up. Next Saturday, we have Global Connection through food, friends, and family. There's still a few slots open on that one. And then the following Saturday, we have our Middle Eastern adventure. So let me tell you a little bit about divine dining. It's a wonderful way of getting to know new people in a more social environment. The parties always feature food and usually some kind of activity that get people together. There's even for the second one, Middle Eastern adventure, the host, the hostess with the mostest there, Charlotte, even did an exciting brochure, like a full color, I know, a brochure of her event. So on the back table there, where it says Divine Dining, you'll want to make sure that you check that out. Anyway, the 2 parties are going to be fabulous. They both have spots left in them. Charlotte's features some dancing, as I understand, which will be exciting. And the Global Connections through Food, Friends, and Family, you're invited to bring something that represents your nationality or your heritage, even as they'll be talking about traditional Ukrainian feast and activities. And so if you've wanted to learn about the Ukraine, you're going to want to attend the party next Saturday at 5:30 p.m. And if you'd like the Middle Eastern Adventure, that'll be on the 17th, also Saturday, 5 p.m. So the details in your program, you'll want to take those home with you. The registrations are all online. And really, the low prices are of a benefit to the center as well. So thank you all that have participated in this. Thank you, hosts. I'm looking forward to attending at least one of these two parties coming up. So please take advantage of that. Okay, now let me, switch magically my costume to education for a moment. I want to highlight in particular the first of the fall classes, Spiritual Principles and Practices. If it weren't enough that it's facilitated by Reverend Marilyn Sprague and Kate Barrett, two of our best teachers, it's also the starting point for any of you who have considered yourself to be seekers. Maybe it's time to be a finder. And Spiritual Principles and Practices is where you personally get to ask all the questions that have ever bugged you about religions in general, and you'll get a framework, I hope, I trust, for putting your own spiritual beliefs into a cohesive statement. You'll be able to actually say at the end of that class, what do I stand for spiritually? So I don't think you want to miss it. Even those of you who have maybe had the old foundations class, this is fundamentally different. It's a way of really looking at spiritual principles and practices in a way that allows you almost like, how do I want to say this? It's almost like you get to go to the world's buffet of spirituality, and you get to experiment with and try out the spiritual tools and practices that work for you personally. It's like you get to ask questions, discuss, and build your own truth of spirituality. So please consider it. It's starting on October 3rd. It only runs for 5 weeks, 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. It's online, easy to take the class for both the people who frequent here on Sunday, but also aimed at our folks online that have maybe also been seekers for a good part of our lives. It's time to put aside the seeking and take up the finding. Of course, there are many other classes also in your program, or for those of you online, go to our main website, cslportland.org, and just click on the classes and workshop button, and you'll get to read all about them. But this first one is a dynamite class, and if you haven't had it before, if you're a little bit new to us in particular, that is the class for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Larry. You don't want to miss next week because nearly all of what we do is through volunteers. During the service next Sunday, we'll take the opportunity to honor and recognize the many people who contribute to our continued success. After the service, we'll enjoy a reception downstairs here in their honor. If you're a volunteer, please come to be recognized, and let's all linger after the service to get to know the people who make this all happen. Our flowers, of course, are by our own Kat Jacobs. Thank you, Kat. Special music today is by our own LaRhonda Steele and our wonderful friends band. Yay! So sit back and relax, because we know that somewhere between the music, the meditation, and the message is exactly what your heart came to receive.
you, Nancy and Reverend Larry. So right now, we enter into our sacred time of meditation together. So I invite you to settle yourself, to get still, to put your attention and awareness on your breath, breathing in and out as we settle into our heart space and receive. God is, I am, right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am. God is, I am, right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am. God is, I am, right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am.
Right here, right now, in this space, in this beloved community, we are one. We are one in the one presence, the one essence of love, the one source, the one energy that is everywhere present in the universe. It is in, through, and as everything. And that means each one of us. I am a unique, individualized expression of that oneness. And each one of us is also part of that. We are part of the unity of God, of Spirit, and knowing that we are all here and everywhere present in the body of God. And so I just claim and affirm for us today that we recognize our oneness. We recognize that we are all part of that same collection that is called humanity, that it doesn't matter where we come from, what we look like, what our gender or culture or ethnicity is, that we are all one. We are part of that unity of spirit. And so I just know that in this place, as we recognize the oneness of everyone, we begin to just breathe into that space and know that there are no others. There are no other groups, other classes, other cultures. We are all part of that oneness that is God. And so I just give thanks for this, for knowing this truth that we are all one. And I release my word into the action and activity of the law, knowing that it is already done. We let it be, and together we say, and so it is. And I just invite us today, as we go within, to think about whether there is any person, group, or culture that we consider the other, and bring them into our humanity.
Welcome back. in the silence. I know some wonderful things were revealed, right, in the silence. All right. We've got a wonderful song arranged. The arrangement is Faith Rivera's arrangement. I'm not sure who the writer is, but this wonderful song is about what we're all called to be. And as a part of this community, each one of us is called to be something, a part of it, what makes this whole thing work. Yes? Would you agree? Would you entertain that possibility? All right. I am called to be a healer of all humanity. I am called to be a dreamer, believe in what can be. I am called to be a maker, an instrument of peace. I am called to be a giver of the abundance I receive. I am called to be a prayer, living out the truth I seek. I am called to be everything. I am called to be the glory here on earth, so all might see all the love and all the beauty that shines through you and me. We are the living, breathing God, and you are one with me. We are called to be. Now you are called to be a mother, to nurture family. You are called to be a brother, be strength in time of need. You are called to be a neighbor, see a friend in all you meet. You are called to be a leader, to build community. You are called to be a prayer, living out the truth you seek. You are called to be everything. You are called to be the glory here on earth, so all might see all the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. You are the living, breathing God, and you are one with me. You are called to be, yeah. You are called to be the kindness, set the brokenhearted free. You are called to be forgiveness, where pain has run too deep. You are called to be compassion, the wind beneath each wing. You are called to make communion, only then can we receive. We are called to be a prayer, living out the truth we seek. We are called to be everything. We are called to be the glory here on earth, so all might see all the love and all the beauty that shines through you and me. We are the living, breathing God, and you are one with me. We are called to be, yes. Spirit is calling us to be, yeah. Called to be love, called to be joy, called to be peace. We're called to be love, called to be joy, called to be peace, called to be love, called be joy, called to be peace. We are called to be.
Thank you, LaRhonda. Gosh, that just makes me want to dance a little bit.
Put your apron back on.
I know. That's what I'm thinking. So this month, actually, we're going to be talking about the idea of community. And I want to start us off with a discussion of what a spiritual community is. Sort of why do we exist? Why aren't we off at home meditating? You know, why on a Sunday morning would we choose to be here together, both virtually and in person? What is it about a spiritual community that's important? Why is it something that's difficult to achieve on our own, and so forth? That is the key of this month. And I want to start with maybe a little bit of a loaded question. Remember I'm trying to remember whether it was the 70s or the 80s where really the idea of rugged individualism was so well promoted. We had the Marlboro Man. We had that idea of, the Lone Rangers swooping into town and taking care of business. We had the people going out, leaving the city behind and building their own little utopias where they took care of everything from drilling the wells and, setting up the households. Really that idea that a person could accomplish anything and everything all by themselves. And I got to tell you, it kind of messed up people a little bit, didn't it? You had people that thought they had to be responsible for everything. And I got to tell you, it caused some heartache. And in fact, I would suggest it's still causing some heartache. One of the things I ran across this week while I was studying this topic of community was an article from the LA Times. And I thought it was interesting. The title of it is, U.S. Individualism Isn't Rugged, It's Toxic, and It's Killing Us. And it goes on to talk about some of the things that have happened during our couple of years of experiencing COVID, of people feeling that their rights were taken away from them because they were asked to wear masks, or that somehow their individualism was at stake by having recommendations of vaccines and things like that. And it was interesting because the article really feels that it's fueled by the belief that these measures represent an undue restriction on individual freedom. And there's a quote from San Francisco giant slugger Aubrey Huff, who said in a Twitter post, just because others may be susceptible to the disease doesn't mean that my world has to shut down. He added that he would rather die from coronavirus than wear a damn mask. And I thought it was just interesting. I mean, we all have our own ideas about mask wearing. We all have our own ideas about whether getting the shot is appropriate or not. And I honor everybody's personal take on these things. But at the same time, the article really offers up an idea of rugged individualism, or are we here to care for one another? And what's more important? Is it more important that I personally succeed and get what I want? Or is it more important that we all work together so that most people succeed? Have you thought about that one for a minute? I'm going to tell you right up front, that's going to be your homework for this week. So know that you're not getting off scot-free homework-wise. But kind of where are you on that continuum? How willing are you to do for other people, even if it seems like it's at your own convenience, even if it seems like it's maybe etching away at what you consider to be a personal freedom? And I would say, we've had lots of examples of this, right? Remember when I think over half of Americans were smokers, and they started relegating the smokers to be the other, right? And, first the Clean Air Acts come in, and people are relegated out into little porches outside and things like that. For those of you who were a smoker, didn't it feel like your personal freedoms were being taken away from you? And yet, at the same time, all of the evidence was there, right? My smoking can harm other people. And so most people, maybe initially begrudgingly, but pretty willingly also said, no, it's okay. I don't mind going outside. It's probably appropriate. I am here to make sure that my family and my friends are safe. And so I'm going to do what's right. Now, the reason I bring this up in a conversation around community is that there are sort of three ways of looking at how we relate to one another. One is the rugged individualist. It's that idea of being completely independent. I will take care of myself. I will do for myself. I don't need any help. I'm not dependent upon anything. And then there's the other extreme, the person who's completely dependent, who, doesn't have a job, who takes their cues from other people, the person that really needs help or chooses to get help in almost everything in their lives. And I would suggest both of those extremes, and they are extremes, are places of crazy-makingness, right? It's like, if you really think about it, neither of those two ends of the spectrum are a wholesome way to live. But I think rather than thinking that you want to end up in the middle, let's look at a third option. So we have independent and we have dependent. What about interdependent? And I think that's a little bit of a different place than just in the middle between independent and dependent. I think it acknowledges that we all have a part to play in the care and the success of one another. That we all can choose to be in a community, in an environment where we both help and we receive help. And that it's freely done. It's not necessarily that idea of, well, if you do this for me, then I will help you with that. It's more the idea of, no, I have my special talents and I'm here to share them. And I know that when I have a need that is awkward or difficult for me to fulfill, someone will likewise step forward and help me with that. And we'll do it in a way that is lovely, right? Not transactional, not oh my gosh, I'll pay you $50 if, you mow the lawn because I can't get to that anymore, right? It's like, no, we're here for one another. We're interdependent. And we freely ask for and give help. Now, here's a tough one though, right? How many of us are almost fearful to ask for help? Oh, come on. Some of you are just fibbing. Okay, that's better. That's better. It's very natural. About half of Americans, and that was about what, after I shamed you a little bit, that's about what we were here in the sanctuary today too. About 50% of Americans really have trouble asking for help. That old Christian idea, it is better to give than it is to receive, seems to have been instilled on us in a way that actually is a bit unhealthy. It's equally good to give and to receive. And if you think about it, how can there be gracious givers if there aren't gracious receivers, right? All of us in line to help out. What if there's no one to help, if no one admits that they could use a helping hand? God, of course, is there for the giver and the receiver. And that's what is part of being in community, because we can't actually be interdependent by ourselves. If you think about it, You can be independent by yourself, and you can be dependent by yourself, miserably dependent if you're by yourself. But the only way that you can be interdependent is in community. The only way you can be a healthy participant in modern society is to be interdependent with others in a community. All right, I don't know how to segue into this next part to talk about spiritual community, but maybe a joke would do it. This joke is called The Revival. 3 churches, Baptist, Methodist, and New Thought, they decided to work together to sponsor a community-wide revival. After the revival experience had concluded, the 3 pastors were discussing the experience with one another. The Methodist minister says, that revival worked out great. We gained 4 new families. And the Baptist preacher said, we did wonderfully too. We gained 6 new families. And the New Thought minister shook his head a bit sadly and said, well, we didn't gain any new congregants, but on a brighter note, we did get rid of our 10 biggest troublemakers. And so, yeah, we laugh, but now let's groan, okay? This has to do, I think, with the 4 elements of spirituality. Each one of us typically has gone through 4 stages of our own spirituality, and it relates to how we come together in spiritual community. So let me talk about these 4 stages and see if you don't identify really with all 4 of them. I can see where someone might possibly skip one of these stages, but I got to tell you, these are all very descriptive of my spiritual journey. So first of all, there's the undeveloped stage, which is true for most children. There's a kind of a willful, self-serving, sometimes even antisocial aspect to it. Children and adults tend to fall into this category. It's really a pre-spiritual awareness stage. There's no particular thought to anything above yourself, other than maybe your immediate family members, right? There's not really that awareness of something greater than yourself or a higher power. Okay, then typically those same children or young adults often get introduced to a formal and institutional stage, right? That's where the kids first go off to Sunday school, typically. Or maybe, and it doesn't, have to at all be in the Christian tradition, really any tradition where the kids or young adults are enrolled in a well-developed spiritual tradition. Then what tends to happen, and this makes sense too, as kids grow, don't they become, Don't they become skeptical around everything that was good and well for their parents? Right? That individualization stage where they want to find out for themselves. And so that maps into a seeker stage for young adults and adults in their middle years. They're skeptical. They may reject the form of their initial religious training. They want to find out more. And often some of those religions, those source religions, don't really like having to answer those kinds of questions. And so what typically can happen is a withdrawal from spiritual community in that stage. Well, people kind of find themselves at sea a bit. What does it mean to have a higher power? You might have heard it described as spiritual but not religious too. The idea, well, I know that there's something more than just myself, some kind of a higher power, but I don't really know what it is. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't that other thing. I'm pretty sure it wasn't that early upbringing idea. And then finally, again, most adults, oftentimes older adults, but it can happen at any age, they realize that they're missing the community connection. That really, whatever their spiritual nature is, there's something missing if they're not sharing it with others. And so very often people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s find themselves drifting back to some kind of a spiritual community. And this time, often it's different. It may not be their childhood religion, or if it is, they may be very particular about who the minister is or what the particular church teaches, right? And the idea is now we're an informed adult. We know what's important to us. And so instead of a religion of origin, it's a religion of choice. It's a belonging to a group of people where you feel that you share a commonality in your beliefs about God and spirit. So those are the 4 stages of spirituality. And I'd like to briefly talk a little bit about where PCSL fits in with this, where this community fits into it, because I think we actually cover 3 out of 4 of those areas. And for those of you who are just starting out or in one of the areas that I described, this might help you understand how we can be here to better serve you as you move forward through this process. Well, first of all, in that formal and institutional stage, I'm sorry to say that right now we don't have a youth program. And in fact, we're going to be bugging the heck out of you next month during our pledge program to help us fund our youth program again. Because I got to tell you, having a basis in spirituality at a young age, I think is critical. And I would argue that it almost doesn't matter what it is. It almost doesn't matter whether you're enrolled in the Baptist Sunday school or whether you're involved in, a Buddhist setting. It almost doesn't matter. What we do know is there's going to be some questioning about it later, but to not have it at all is very awkward. It puts young people in a position of not knowing why they feel like there is something beyond just themselves. It puts young people in a position of wondering why I feel the way I do, why I feel connected to things more than just my family. And so I'm hopeful with you all that we'll be able to bring Youth Church back to satisfy that one area of development. The second one, the skeptical stage, we actually address really well through our education programs. We invite people to come in with lots of questions. Like, well, why do you talk about it being spirit instead of God? Or why don't you use God more often? What do you believe about Christianity? Are you a Christian sect even? Or is this some crazy made-up thing, right? All those questions that the seeker has in that, resisting the religion of the past, and now I'm spiritual but not religious, and I have a million questions. We're here to answer that. That's what our practitioners do. That's what I do. That's what the classes in particular are aimed to do. So please take advantage of them. If you have questions in your mind, oh my gosh, we have so many programs that can help you answer those questions for yourself too. One of the, I think, unique things about our center is we don't tell you what to think, we tell you how to think. Right? There isn't a lot of dogma here, but we invite you. In fact, you'll remember during the announcements I was talking about the spiritual principles and practices class. That is an ideal class for you to examine what you believe and how does it fit into this idea of spirituality. So, and then, of course, the last segment, that communal stage, that's, of course, what our Sunday presentation and our Wednesday meditations are. They are here so that we can come together and explore a like-minded view of what God is and how we are emissaries of that one heart and that one love. So again, just to review how the center works, We hope to catch you on the front side. We hope that as children even, you get to be exposed to this idea of something larger than just yourself and just your family. We hope this fall that we'll be opening our youth program again to provide that element of spirituality. We're also here to support people in those questioning stages with our classes, with our practitioners, with our ability to just answer questions and allow you to explore your own personality and how well you fit in with what we do here. And then finally, we're all about the group spiritual practice. It's why our music program is so strong. It's why we're committed to our Sunday services and our Wednesday night meditations. It's so that we can come together and experience something bigger than ourselves, to feel that unity with all life, to be interdependent. And that leads me to my final point that I want to make. The main reason that we are here, the main reason that PCSL exists is for our interdependency. And in fact, next week I'm going to be talking a little bit at volunteerism, because my belief is that if the only thing that happens is that you passively sit here like you were watching TV, except you happen to be here instead, you're missing out on that interdependency. We are here to support one another. And the way that we do that, first of all, is by getting to know you. So please linger after the services. Take advantage of some of the other things that happen, not just on Sundays. Let us get to know you so that we can be here for you. During the pandemic, we were buying and helping people with their shopping who were maybe a little frightened to go out in the first stages of the pandemic when the disease was in its most deadly form. We did shopping for people. We were helping people with doctor's appointments. We continue to do pastoral care for folks. We were interested and concerned about people when we don't see them for a few Sundays. There is an interdependency here. There is how do I want to put it? Well, actually, I know how to put it. When you first walk in, what do you see? Portland Center for Spiritual Living, welcome home. Now, some of you will say, well, this isn't quite like home. And I know what you mean. And on the other hand, it's almost like home the way I wish it was. At least the promise of that. The promise is we are here for you, and we know that you are going to be here for us. That idea of interdependence. So I invite you, as part of that idea of interdependence, to become involved. Hang out with lunch with Reverend Larry on Friday afternoons. Participate in our Wednesday night meditation. Linger after the services. Introduce yourself. Get to know people. Be vulnerable. All right, I said the scary word, right? Because I have noticed, especially when people are new, they're a little shy about saying really who they are. They'll say maybe what they represent or what their profession is. It's actually okay to be pretty vulnerable here. It really is. Let us know what's really going on. If there is something in your life where you could use a little extra help, whether it's finding out what this idea of spirit means to you, whether it's someone to help take you to doctor's appointments, it doesn't really matter what. One thing I know for sure is we won't get to know you if you're not here with us. So please take advantage of this interdependence thing that we have going on. So I did already talk to you about your homework, right? It's that idea of interdependency and are you the Lone Ranger? Are you the totally dependent thing? I don't think so. I think there's something a little different going on with you, and I'd like you to evaluate that in your own lives. And I'm going to close today with, instead of a reading from a book, I would like to just tell you my journey here at PCSL through these stages of development and end with a prayer. So I started at PCSL definitely in that, what do we call it, the skeptical and individual stage. I had been raised in the Presbyterian church, and by the time I was a teenager, I was asking questions that no one there wanted to answer. Honestly, I was asking questions like, well, it almost sounds like you don't think that the Jews are going to go to heaven. It almost sounds like you think that we're the tribe that's making it, and everybody else isn't quite good enough. And oh my, these were questions that were not welcome at all. And so I stopped going to church, but there was that idea in me that there was something just greater than myself. And at first I thought it had to do with nature. At first I think I was becoming a little bit of the nature boy, right? Hanging out in the forest and feeling the strength of the trees and nature around me. And that, it made sense. It filled that certain part of my sense of unity. But it wasn't the answer. It gave me that kind of numinous experience of, oh my gosh, if you can't see God out in the middle of, an old growth forest, well then, you can't see God because it is so apparent there. But it also niggled away at me. There's something more than this too. Shouldn't Spirit be available everywhere? And then I have to tell you, it wasn't until I got involved in AA, suffering from alcoholism and willing to be vulnerable in that way, to admit that I was powerless over alcohol, and to begin working the steps, that I realized, well, wait a minute, there's this higher power that they're talking about. I probably need to actually address that, right? It's like the steps are keeping me from drinking, thank God. but I'm probably not going to go to these meetings for the rest of my life. Not that there's anything wrong with people that do that, but what I realized was, no. There's something beyond myself that really is the resolution to this drinking thing. And so many of the guys that were in my various meetings, were involved in a religion or a spiritual path of some sort. So anyway, I found myself at PCSL and definitely in that skeptical and individual stage. And one of the first things I did, I can't believe it, I think it was like on the third Sunday I came, I signed up for the foundations class. Because I was going to grill, I was absolutely going to grill the instructor, Well, why do you believe in Easter? And blah, 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 blah. And she was so kind and so gentle and answered all of my questions. And after about 4 weeks of the 10-week class, I went, oh my gosh, just about everybody in this place believes what I believe. I did not realize that anybody had similar thoughts to myself about the innate unity of all life, about the willingness to give and to receive. I was astounded that so many people could be like me in that way. Not that there weren't differences, of course, and one of the things I love about our philosophy is we're encouraged to celebrate our differences, absolutely. But at the same time, it was like, these are my people. Who knew? And suddenly, really pretty darn suddenly, I found myself in that fourth category where I wanted to be interdependent with the lovely people at the Portland Center for Spiritual Living. So let us pray. There is one life, one love, one joy, one peace, one abundance, one robust good health. There's only this one thing, and this thing I call God. And what I know about God is that it is everywhere present, all-powerful. it is part of that interdependence because what? We're of it. We're made out of God's stuff. And so for the world to get the world's things done, we are interdependent. Each of us, that divine spark of inspiration, bringing our own version of love and life and joy and abundance of health to the world. It is for us to act on behalf of Spirit as we come together in spiritual community. And truly, even as it uplifts our own spirits, we uplift the world. We make the world a place that is welcome for all. And I give thanks for this. I give thanks for having a place to come to every Sunday for these many years. I give thanks for this place that attempts to give and give and receive and receive. I give thanks for this place and this way of being. I give thanks for these spiritual principles and practices that have made all the difference for me and for so many other people. And so in gratitude, I let it be, and together we say, and so it is. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. What a blessing to be in spiritual community. Thank you. Now is our time of conscious giving. If you'd like to take out your gift or your tithe. For those of you online, I invite you to go to cslportland.org/donate. You can make an online donation just as easily as the people here can in person. I invite you, if you like, to place your hand over your heart and repeat after me. Graciously I give. From a place of love. Knowing that as I give, so do I richly receive. Would the ushers please begin receiving the gifts?
Let's sing our receiving chant together. Yes. More than enough. More than enough. More than enough. More than enough. More, much more. More than enough. More than enough. I am more than enough. I have more than enough. There is more than enough. More, much more. More than enough. 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 More, much more. More than enough. More, much more. More than enough. Now we have an opportunity with this song to practice our interdependence. See, I was listening. So it's a wonderful song by Eddie Watkins Jr., We Come Together. So I'm going to invite you to do a couple of things, and you entertain the possibility of doing those things. If you don't feel like doing it, that's cool too. But if you feel like standing up and moving around and grooving with us, please do that. Yes. Yeah. I think you know how to groove. Yeah. Hey, hey, hey. All right. Yeah. I'm going to invite you to do a couple of things in this community. Yes. Even in Facebook land. Check it out, y'all. Take a look at the person next to you. Say God loves you and I love you too. See? Now feel the love in the sanctuary. And lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Does that feel good? Yes. Woo. I'm going to invite you to do another thing. person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. I recognize the God in you. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Oh, and lift your voice and repeat after me. Yeah. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Now every walk of life, and every creed and color, our hearts and souls unite. Oh yeah, as we recognize the God in each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say namaste, I bow to you. And feel the love in the sanctuary. Oh, and lift your voice and repeat after me. Yeah. We come together. We come together. We come together. Yes. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of when it's dancing, we come together. We come together. We come together. Yeah. In the name of love. Thank you.
Fun. Let's do that every Sunday. Okay.
I like the way you groove, too. You got a good groove. Nancy, yeah.
All right. Oh.
Watch out.
On behalf of the Portland Center for Spiritual Living, I receive these gifts with great love. I know that our vision of a world that works for everyone, a mission of personal empowerment. I know that as we pay our bills, as we make gifts to other nonprofits, this circle of love expands. I'm grateful for this. I let it be, and so it is. Let's see, just a quick reminder about prayer support on the back table there. Our practitioner in training, Kay, hold up one. Yeah, thanks. You can fill out one of those cards, and it's our honor to pray for you throughout the week. For those of you online, don't hesitate to go to our website, cslportland.org. The bottom of every page is a little link, make a prayer request. Again, it automatically gets mailed out to everyone. We pray for you throughout the week. Now, though, I think it's time for our benediction. If you'd like to perhaps stand and join me, that would be wonderful. I invite you just to repeat after me. Something wonderful is flowing through me right now.
Something wonderful is flowing through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my body.
Life is in my body.
And life is in my affairs.
Life is in my affairs.
I think it. I feel it. I expect it. And I am it. Just the way that I am. Please know with me that you are never alone. If at any time during the day or night, if forgetfulness might creep upon you, just go within. On that altar of the Most High, recognize you are loved. And in gratitude for this, I let it be, and so it is.
Amen. Let's sing our closing song together. Yes. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say,
If you happen to be in the Portland, Oregon area, we'd love to have you visit in person. The Portland Center for Spiritual Living is located at 6211 Northeast Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. We have inspirational services at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. every Sunday. We also have many programs, classes, and workshops developed just for our online audience. To find out more, go to our website at cslportland.org and look under the Online tab. We have a variety of content dedicated specifically for our online listeners. Our mission is to open hearts, ignite minds, and make a difference. If you'd like to support our center, you can donate online at cslportland.org/donate. Our website is also the place to learn more about what's going on at the center or to contact us. Allow us to become part of your extended spiritual community. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are most welcome at the Center for Spiritual Living.